Hello, everybody. Mr. the Vest Man here. Sean here. I am here, bringing you the DLC Martian Bear for Trenched or Iron Brigade, whichever one you wish to call it. And we are going to walk through the 5 levels that you get. There will also be some survival videos to come, along with oodles and oodles and oodles of other written content that Todd plans to do on the loot and anything else he might have. I can't recall at this exact moment in time. But suffice it to say, there's a ton of loot. For 400 points, you get a pretty sizable DLC add-on. And you'll really enjoy it if you like the main game. But anyways, I am here to tell you how to play the 5 campaign missions. If you are soloing this level, I strongly suggest you bring a standard chassis and you bring 2 snipers, or at least 1 sniper and some machine guns, or at least 1 sniper and something. When I soloed this level, I was struggling with it until I used 2 hyper snipers, and then I ended up just blowing through this level. I think I got like 91%, 90%. They make a huge difference. For emplacements, if you're soloing, use machine guns, shotguns, and dampening generators. If you have some compadres, you see I have Todd with me, you can still bring the same setup, but the other person is free to just completely ignore this. This isn't happening right now. You did not see any of this. There we go. If you have someone else with you, you can have them bring mines and snipers if you want, but they're not like absolutely necessary. You could also bring flak too. Flak in place of the not shotguns, the machine guns. Either one will work. The thing about the flak on this level is that the volt droppers. I think there's 2 volt droppers. Yeah, the volt droppers have a very wide arc that they fly around on this map, so they don't spend a lot of time within range of the flak guns, which is like the only reason why I would say not to use them. That's why you could just bring the machine guns and you just fare just as well. But you can put the flak if you want, or you could put down snipers. The sniper turrets do a really good job, especially if you can get them upgraded once. The only thing with snipers is they do cost a lot of money. Also, you might be like, well, hey, Vestman, you are destroying this level, but you're using all the weapons you get from the DLC. Well, this first level is actually really easy. For the first time you play it, it's gonna be hard. Like, let me clarify here. It's gonna be hard the first time you play it, no matter what, because you're jumping into a new situation. But the level overall will become very easy once you figure out the proper technique. And like I said, snipers, machine guns, shotguns, dampening generators, that's the proper technique. So after that, I highly suggest you play this level a couple times. That way you get the loot drops, because this level has really splendid loot drops. You can get ironclad stuff, which is the next tier of emplacement after massive. You can get really good weapons, all from this first level. They really throw a lot at you on this first level to kind of gear you up for what's to come. So even if you beat this level, I suggest you play it once more, a couple times more, just so you can get some loot. Just completely ignore the fact I missed all those shots. And you could get, especially the massive shotgun, or no, is it the massive shotgun or ironclad? The shotgun on this level is really useful, the shotgun emplacement. As for the level itself, you have 2 objectives. The blue side, where you see me standing most of this map, is going to be the harder hit with aerials. So that's why you see we actually put a flak up here. I've got the dampening generator, and we have a backup machine gun. Todd eventually will put a sniper over here as well. Green is going to mostly be hit by walking enemies, so resistors, Tommies. I think there's an arty or 2 that spawns across the bridge, stuff like that. So on the green side, you're going to want the shotguns, machine guns, dampening generators. If you have multiple people, then you can just put a whole boatload of stuff over there. Aside from that, you will have some volt droppers, I believe, like wave 5 or 6, and then the final wave is a volt dropper. And then you're also going to have, like I said, an arty for a boss. You have Jacobs on some enemies, and the one great thing is if you have any, I don't know if there are any piercing weapons before the DLC. But there's guns that you get now in the DLC that will have the Pierce ability. And if you play this level enough times, they may drop. I'll have to confirm that in the comment, or I'll put it in the description if they do drop. But there's guns that have the piercing ability, and basically the piercing ability works exactly how it sounds. If you shoot something, the bullet's going to continue to travel through the next enemy. So this works really, really, really splendidly well against the Jacobs, because even though the enemy has the shield, the bullet will still pierce. So you can actually, if the Jacobs is surrounded by other enemies, the bullets will still go through, hit the Jacobs. You can take them out really quickly. It's so useful. It's pretty well the only type of guns I'll use now are weapons with pierce on them, because they just work so well. Right here, oh no, it's not right here. There will be a really good example coming up of the piercing ability. Like if they're all lined up in a nice neat little row, you could just boom, like one sniper shot, two sniper shots, and you've killed every enemy. Whereas before, it would take multiple shots because the bullets don't pierce. I really think the piercing weapons are one of the best things they've added. They're so good. Something else to note about this level, it's also the level where you play the new survival map. So with the DLC, you get 5 new campaign maps, you get 2 new survival maps, you get like, we have a loot list. I'm going to say there's like 30 to 40 pieces of new loot. Not all being weapons. There's like some new cosmetic loot. You get the ability to do salutes using both hands, so that when you're walking around on the McKinley, you used to only be able to, I think, raise your right arm and do stuff with it, but now you can use both hands. I mean, it's kind of silly. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for this Voltropper to spawn, but he's not having it. Okay, so what are we on? Wave 7 of 15, so it must be wave 8. Otherwise, what else we got? There's the 3 pathways. You got 2 that go under the bridge. So you can see here, these ones come under the bridge, then they'll go left and come up. Then they go to green. Or they can go on the other pathway under the bridge. They'll go the long way around. They'll come to blue. And then you have the aerials that'll spawn in the back. And then you'll have the far, far back, which will come across the bridge. Anything that comes across the bridge has like a really, really long travel time. So you don't really have to worry about them too much. You will have... Is it Big Willie? There is an arty up there. I'm not sure if the Big Willie comes from up there. You also have blitzers once in a while come running across the bridge. So if you want to put down a minefield or even a shotgun there to just take care of those blitzers. Otherwise, the level's pretty straightforward. Like I said, make sure you bring snipers if you're soloing. If you're not soloing, it's not a big deal. There's the Voltropper. And if you watch this Voltropper, he's going to swing around, and for all of like 2 seconds, that flak turret's going to shoot him, and that's it. Because he takes a ludicrously big circle around the map. So this is where actually I would say the sniper is... Oh, I missed again and again and again. Where having the sniper turret would be way more useful than the anti-air. So it's really going to be your call on what you decide to put up. Oh gosh, when those Voltroppers hit. But that is why I suggest if you're soloing, you bring hyper snipers, or at least you bring snipers that you can shoot fairly quickly. Because you could bring the Gungnir, for instance, but that thing is one shot. So if you miss that Voltropper, you have a really long reload time. And the Gungnir doesn't really lend itself well to killing the smaller enemies. If you don't have a good sniper, you get the hyper sniper from the original survival map on Hospital. I think it's wave 15 or 20, something like that. And the hyper sniper is basically, it's just a really, really fast, watch this piercing, boom, like triple kill right there. It's a really fast firing sniper, kind of like, like a semi-auto sniper, so it's like boom, 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 boom. Like, if you've played COD, it's like the Barrett 50 cal. It's really fast. It's not as powerful as your normal sniper, but because it's really fast and it reloads at a pretty decent rate, it's really useful for not only boss killing, but for taking out smaller enemies, because you can just shoot it so quickly. Here's a good demonstration of that piercing. I couldn't even see the Jacobs, but I knew he was back there, so I just kept firing back there. And since I was getting the hit indicator, the little dot in the center of the screen, I knew I was hitting him. So piercing is awesome. What else? What else do I need to cover here? Like I said, you should bring a standard chassis because you definitely, if you're soloing, you definitely should use snipers, or at least a sniper and something else. If you're with multiple people, oh, there is an RD over on there. If you're with multiple people, you could still bring a standard or have people on the engineering chassis. This level doesn't really need an assault chassis because there is no breakers. There's nothing that an artillery cannon or a broadcaster is needed to kill. And frankly, I don't think there's anything a broadcaster is needed to kill in this entire game. I really don't like the broadcaster category. And if you really want to use explosives, you could use the grenades. But like I said, there's no breakers on this map. I don't think. Sometimes I get confused because I've played survival so many times now. It's hard for me to remember what's on the campaign version of this map versus the survival one. If you're wondering about survival tips for this map, like I said, I will be doing stuff for that in the future, or we'll be doing written stuff for that in the future. Probably video stuff. I've just got to get that stuff recorded. We actually made it to wave 52 the other day, but I wasn't recording, unfortunately. Also, the great thing about the new DLC is since there's new tiers of items, like the ironclad turrets, there's some new specialty turrets like there's the ironclad shotgun, and then there's a knockback shotgun. So it's basically the ironclad shotgun with an extra knockback effect. There is a sniper turret that has piercing on it as a base effect, which is stupendous. I can't wait to use it. And stuff like that is actually really useful for if you haven't even gold starred the early levels in the campaign. So, or if you've never, for survival on hospital, if you've had a hard time getting to 50 before, these new items should really make a difference. Like I said, the piercing stuff really is tremendous at killing Jacobs, and survival on the hospital is really bad because it's such a kind of like a smaller map. The Jacobs would really cover a lot of enemies, so this might be just what you needed to get to level 50 on survival. Get those. Is it the nurse outfit? I think. I think that's what you unlock at 50. You can see the blitzers coming across the bridge. Like I said, if you put a mine layer there, that'd probably take care of them. You start getting a lot more land enemies coming towards blue at this point, but if you've got that dampening generator, you can also see Todd's got a little shotgun. That's called the camo shotgun. You'll unlock that later. You don't need to put the camo shotgun. I mean, anything there would work. A machine gun, a second machine gun, a shotgun. Of course, putting stuff down is going to be at your discretion. If you feel like you're having a harder time killing stuff, put another turret down. Instead, you've seen me, I've kind of just been like wasting my money upgrading stuff I don't really need to upgrade. But like I said, the machine gun, shotgun, and amplifier is really all you're going to need, like what you absolutely need. Everything else is just kind of like bonus extra. Oh man, look at that sniper go. But yeah, that's really about it. There's so much not else to talk about for this level. For 400 points, this DLC is pretty ridiculously good. I'm not gonna lie, like, for arcade games, even for a major release, like, you're hard pressed to get any DLC for $5 anymore. So it's pretty solid DLC. Like I said, there's like 30 some odd pieces of loot, 5 new maps, 2 survival maps on those maps, mappity map maps. And there's continues the campaign. Well, not to ruin it, but you do end up on Mars. That's why it's Rise of the Martian Bear. So it's pretty interesting stuff. And like I said, we will have more stuff in the future, like the loot guide and pictures for that, and pictures which I've been taking lots of. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. But in the interest of not rambling on with absolutely nothing to say, and there's only a couple minutes left, I'm just going to stop here. If you're curious to see how the rest of the video goes, then just continue to watch. At this point, though, if you're just looking for general tips, you should have your defenses set up. Like, you're almost done. Nothing else should be getting through. Like I said, machine guns, shotguns, amplifier, dampening turrets, those are your definitely must-haves. Bring snipers if you're soloing. If you've got multiple people, not as crucial that you have snipers. Hyper sniper is what I recommend, but any sniper will do. Except for the Gungnir, like I said, don't use the Gungnir. That's a boss killer. That's not a everyday bad guy killer. But I'm gonna stop here. So I thank you for watching, and we will see you on episode 2 of Iron Brigade's DLC.
I must take advantage of this time to restore our defenses.
This is the last of them.
Ah! Ha ha ha!
Here comes Big Willie. These guys are tough.
What, aren't you reloaded yet? Wait for it. Here's something else for you, tubes. Wait for the reload.
You're supposed to be defending that. Three, two, one, blast off!